Think you've got cruising all figured out? We're about to turn your world upside down with 13 of the most shocking revelations that might just demolish some of the most common cruise myths in your mind. So cruising is an incredibly popular vacation choice, but it's also shrouded in a lot of misconceptions and myths. In this video, we're going to peel back the curtain and debunk 13 of the most pervasive cruise myths that you've probably believed your whole life. From outdated stereotypes to common booking blunders. Prepare to have your mind blown as we reveal the shocking truths you don't want to miss. The last myth we expose will turn that notion on its head. Brace yourself for a truth that can make you rethink everything you thought you knew about cruising. First up, this one has been pretty much already debunked, but we're going to put this one to bed for good. Cruising is only for the elderly. Completely, utterly false. Modern cruise ships cater to all ages, sizes, shapes, doesn't matter. There's a ton of family-friendly activities and entertainment on board. And the trends are showing that younger travelers are increasingly choosing cruise vacations. They're finally realizing that cruising's not just for grandma, that they can have fun and they can visit with their cat. There are adventure and themed cruises that attract a wide demographic of people. All cabins are small and claustrophobic. No. Yes, there are some cabins that are small, but the cabin size, the cabin layout, the look and the feel has evolved just like everything else in cruising. You can get, let's call them cozy interiors, but you can also get expansive suites, 2,000 square foot suites, bigger than most people's homes. Balcony cabins, while a little more expensive, they do give you that added space as well as an amazing view. Morning, noon, or night, doesn't matter. The newer ships have some pretty innovative cabin designs, maximizing your comfort and the utility of the space. They're doing better and better each new class of ship with what they can fit into a cabin and how they can make it work and flow and make it less and less claustrophobic. Ship design features multiple social areas to disperse the crowds. Yes, there are certain times where you're going to feel like you're in a crowd, but honestly, after the first couple hours on board, there are so many little nooks and crannies, so many out-of-the-way bars and tables and couches and little clusters that if you don't want to hang out in your cabin the whole time, you can still go and relax without feeling like there's 800 people on top of you. One more tip for reducing those crowds, do things off-peak. Everybody goes to lunch on sea days between 12 and 1, okay? Well, maybe have, a late breakfast and then a mid-afternoon lunch instead of going from 12 to 1. If you plan on getting a massage, some, the spa activities, go on a port day where most people are off the ship. Go at 9 or 10 o'clock at night where everybody's at a show or gambling or dancing. Or another option, a good option, is to choose some of the smaller, the more luxury ships. You're going to get a more intimate experience. You're going to get a better crew to passenger ratio. You're going to get better service. If you get on a Seabourn that carries 400 people, you're not going to feel like you're on a ship with 8,000 because you're not. Next myth to debunk, cruises are expensive. I've talked this one until I'm blue in the face. To me, cruises they can be the most economical way to vacation these days. If you think about it and really think about it, you're getting 7 nights hotel on a 7-night cruise, okay? 7 nights hotel, the ability to eat 20 hours a day, shows, comedians, access to the casino. There's so much to do that's included that watch one of my older videos where I actually broke it down and compared it to a 7-night land package. And you'll be blown away. And yes, that's still true, even with the mega ships costing, $1,500 a person for an interior. Also look for deals. During wave season, last minute discounts. Wave season is typically the first 3 months of the year. So as we're recording this in January, it's the beginning of wave season. Cruise lines have just recently announced their schedules for the next 2 years, arguably 18 months to 2 years. So they're looking to get a lot of people pre-booked on them. So they're offering some pretty good deals. Granted today's the 3rd of January or the 4th of January. So, not all the wave deals have come out yet, but the ones I'm seeing are pretty good. Reach out to your favorite travel agent. They'll have all the skinny on the offers. And remember, the cost of that cruise doesn't just give you access to the ship. It gives you the accommodations. It gives you the meals. It gives you the entertainment. It gives you amazing views. It gives you access to 2, 3, 4, 5 different countries without having to pack and unpack again, without having to hop on a plane. There's a lot of value there. Next myth, you'll get seasick. Now, can I absolutely guarantee that you will not get seasick on a cruise? No, nobody can. But modern stabilizers definitely go a long way towards making your sailing experience smoother. Plus, there are some things that you can do to minimize the risk. One, choose your itinerary. Choose the right time of year for that itinerary. Don't necessarily go on a Caribbean cruise in the middle of the hurricane season. Get yourself to a doctor before your cruise and get some remedies, some preventative medicine. You know, there's different things that your doctor can give you, from the patch to the bracelet to over-the-counter meds that will, when used properly, minimize your symptoms. Now, hold on, because right ahead we're going to be exposing an unbelievable truth about cruise ship dining that might surprise even the most seasoned of travelers. So the next myth, limited dining options. Oh my gosh, anybody who still believes this has obviously not set foot on a ship or looked at a brochure or a website in 50 years. There are more dining options on board your average cruise ship than there are in, most small cities. If you think about it, there are on average about 20 different dining areas, dining options on board a cruise ship. Now, not all of them are included in the cost. There are specialty restaurants, there are high-end restaurants, there are options. But included in your cost, you've got access to the main dining room, you've got access to the buffet, you've got access to somewhere from 2 to 8 casual dining, think like not fast food, but kind of like an Applebee's, kind of like, fast casual, for lack of a better word. You've got pizza at midnight. You've got desserts. Dining options are far from limited, and the quality is far from what it was 20, 30, 50 years ago. The cruise lines have finally realized that not only do they got to put out a spread, but they got to put out a good tasting spread. Now, if you do any research on cruises, and people are allowed to comment on whatever forum you're looking at, you're going to have people that are unhappy with the food, period. Doesn't matter what cruise line, doesn't matter what cruise ship. I did a chef's table dinner where we paid pretty big bucks for a very special event, a very special dining experience that only, I think there was 12 of us on that night. And this is where the chef of the ship, the head chef, cooks for you, cooks specialty for you. The food was absolutely amazing. There were 4 people that complained about it out of 12, okay? They ate the same food I did. Now, the difference is their palate, their expectations, their feeling on what's gourmet and what's bland. Take all of their comments with a grain of salt, okay? All right, I think I've beat the dining options thing to death. Next myth, cruises are boring. Again, there are hundreds, and yes, more than 100 activities on your average cruise ship, on your average 7-night stay. Anything from water parks to rock climbing to go-karts to laser tag to trivia to Broadway style shows to comedians to 18 different live bands to massages to weightlifting to, I could go on and on and on. I've said this many a time. If you've been watching me for more than a day, you've heard me say it. If you're bored on a cruise, it's because of you. You choose to be bored. Okay, again, beat it to death. Time to move on. This one's almost as good. Nothing to do in port. For those of you who are seasoned cruisers and you have been to Nassau, Bahamas, Cozumel, Mexico, or I don't even know, I can't think of a third one, umpteen dozen times. Like my wife and I counted up, we've been to Nassau, Bahamas 32 times. Okay. I could see somebody who like that saying there's nothing to do at in port. But if you've never been there before, you've only been there once or twice before, you're in a foreign country, you're in a different part of the world with different cultures, different people, different history. Oh my gosh, there is so much you could do. And if you don't want to learn about the island you're visiting, cool. There's water sports, there's laying around the beach, there's snorkeling, there's scuba, there's party buses, there are a ton of excursions that you can do. Now, not all of them are going to be available through the ship. The ship on average, I want to say the average is like 12, maybe 14 different options per island. There are other websites, there are other places that you can go to find out about excursions. There are places you can go to plan your own excursions. Just like on board ship, if you're bored in a port, it's your own fault. So now, coming up soon, we're going to uncover a pretty unexpected insight about some of the onboard services that could really change the way you cruise. Next myth, cruising is unsafe. There are, at last count, I want to say about 300 active cruise ships in the world. On average, 275 of them are at sea every day of the week. Right now, as you're watching this, there's probably 275 ships sailing somewhere around this world. Yes, accidents happen. Yes, every once in a blue moon, a ship gets caught in a storm. Unfortunately, yes, there are accidents on board. There are people have fallen overboard. There have been safety issues, let's put it that way. That does not mean that cruising is unsafe at all. Okay, 275 ships at sea on any given day. Let's say the average size of the cruise ship is 1,000 people. That's 275,000 people that are at sea on any given day. The security measures, the training of the staff, the health and safety protocols, the regular inspections, the surprise inspections, the maritime safety regulations they have to follow. No, they are not unsafe. Okay. Next myth, internet is unavailable or slow. Yeah, even 5 years ago, that was probably true. But now, with the advance in the satellite Wi-Fi technology that I think pretty much all of the major cruise lines have signed on and are in the process of having that brought on to all of their ships. Now, don't get on board thinking you're going to have, the same gigabit speed of download that you have at home where you're paying $300 a month. Okay. This is a ship. It's moving. That's not going to happen. But checking your email, going on social media, even doing a live Zoom call if you need to. Those things are all possible pretty much at all times on the cruise ships these days. Now, every now and then you're going to hit a snag. You're not going to be able to connect. Something happened. It might be down, which honestly, with how expensive the Wi-Fi at sea is unacceptable to me. I think the cruise ships need to do a better job of keeping connectivity. I beat that one. I tend to be beating a lot of these to death. Next, cruise itineraries are rigid. Again, no, they're not. Yes, the icon of the seas is home ported in wherever it's at. I don't know, let's say Miami for 6 months or a year at a time. And let's say it's a year, they sail for 52 weeks. 48 of those itineraries are going to be the same. You're going to have, let's say, 24, 7-night Eastern Caribbean and 24 Western Caribbean. Okay. But that ship is going to have some special sailings. They're going to have a couple of short ones. They're going to have a couple long ones. They're going to have a repositioning cruise. And that's one ship. Royal Caribbean's got 27 ships currently. Carnival's got 25 or 24. Princess has got a dozen. Celebrity, MSC, on and on and on. The availability, the options to go to so many different ports, it's absolutely insane. It's not like it was 20 or 30 years ago when there was 10 ships and they basically did the same things for 2 years. Okay. This next one, this one's important, at least to me. This myth is that it's finally being busted. Cruises don't support local economies. That is very much untrue. And I'm not just talking about economically. Okay. Yes, we all know that, on average, a cruise ship comes into a port and that dumps just those 3,000 to 5,000 people being there dumps, who knows, $1 million, $2 million into the local economy. Okay. Which is great. And, some of these smaller, less affluent countries depend on that money. But I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about more. I'm talking about sustainable tourism practices. I'm talking about partnering with local businesses and the local operators to create opportunities. The cruise lines have finally figured out that these are not just places for them to stop. These are places that they need to build relationships with and foster growth for. Because if they don't, then that port's not going to have them back again. And then they're going to have less offerings. All right, next up, all ships are alike. Oh my gosh. No. Now, yes, there are classes of ships. And yes, all of the ships in that class are almost identical. Sorry, Elio. Didn't mean to interrupt you. The Icon class, the newest Royal Caribbean class. The Icon of the Seas and the Star of the Seas are almost identical. Especially in the big areas, they are identical. Okay. But Each ship has got its own little flavor, its own unique things. They go to different ports. They have different themes. And Royal's got what, 8 different classes of ship? Carnival's got 5 or 6. The options on board, the way the ships look, the way they're designed, the technology that utilize are amazingly different from one ship to the next. Comparing, Royal's vision of the seas to even the Wonder of the Seas, not even the Icon class, just the Wonder of the Seas. They arguably have nothing in common except the Royal Caribbean logo and the fact that they're an ocean-going vessel. Anyway, now that we've crushed those 13 lies, now that was just the beginning. But what if the worst thing possible happens and your cruise gets canceled? You don't want to miss on these essential tips as we go over what to do if that happens.